When one is going to appear for a job interview, he or she must be certain that one question will surely be asked during the interview. And the question is, where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? We all have manufactured some impressive answers to this question, haven't we? But if the same question is asked to the media of the day, the mainstream media of today, how will it respond? In my opinion, it will say that I don't know. Because the kind of unpredictable changes that media has undergone during the past 50 years, it can never be sure about that answer. The digital revolution is one such mammoth change that has taken place in media recently. Let me inform in advance that there are 4 takeaways from my lecture today. 1. The old and the new media are destined to come together as a single entity. Number 2. The divisive space between media and technology is shrinking at the speed we cannot imagine. Number 3. In a decade or so, technology challenged media houses and journalists might find it difficult to survive if they don't adapt to technology, if they don't adopt technology as well, as early as possible. And 4. The digital revolution notwithstanding, we are yet to experience the real power of technology in the domain of media. While some of us like to consider new media and social media as the emerging 5th pillar of democracy, some others consider them as part of the 4th pillar itself, which is the good old conventional media. I would like to be among those who don't consider the new media as a separate 5th pillar, because I believe that both the old and the new media are ultimately going to amalgamate and form a formidable 4th pillar of democracy. We are going to discuss this in depth today, but for the starters, let me briefly explain my take about them. If we revisit the concept of the 4th pillar in the new age, I would say that information is the 4th pillar of democracy. Earlier, the conventional media was generally the only significant and effective way to disseminate information, and hence it has long been officiating as the 4th pillar of democracy. But now, there is another form of media which is more capable, or which is considered to be more capable of taking information to the masses in different ways. We might consider the two medias as competitors now, but ultimately they are going to come together, and the distances between them have already started blurring. Mode of delivery may be different, but there are many similarities between them. They both carry information, they both reach out to people, and they both intend to equip and empower people with knowledge. Since I come from an information background, information technology to be specific, I would like to visualize things from a technological perspective and try to connect dots between not just the two medias, but also between information technology on the whole and the media. Information technology and media may now appear totally unrelated concepts, but if you look at them closely, you will realize that they are coming together too. We have witnessed an age when every organization had become a media organization to some extent. And now we are already in an age when every organization worth its name is going to be a technology organization. And this is symbolic of how digital technology and media are moving in almost similar directions without realizing that their destination might be the same. An interesting component which is common in both and which is driving both of them is information. This is why I no longer consider them as opponents or competitors, but entities in collaboration. Some of you may have wondered when I said that we have witnessed an age of every organization becoming a media organization. You might have wondered how it can be true. But you must have seen that almost every organization had its own branch which to some extent carrying out the work that media is doing. I'll talk about that in more detail later. In fact, I can take the concept one step forward and say that in the age of information technology, almost every person has become a media organization in his or her own right. This is with the help of websites, blogs, the Facebook pages, the Twitter handles, the LinkedIn pages, the e-newsletters, so on and so forth. They all formed a sizable media structure and created a large number of new opportunities for the journalists, as a number of unfamiliar, unconventional and unimagined roles were created in some entirely unlikely organizations. This was a new form of media, which was independent of the conventional media but had most components that a media house has. For example, the information, the creators and processors of information, and a delivery mechanism. On one hand, information technology was instrumental in creating new forms of media. On the other, it was inching closer towards media itself. Consider this fact that irrespective of everything, this phenomenon did not cause any significant danger for the conventional media and actually helped it in getting across new opportunities and getting access to organized, structured and authentic information. Barriers between information technology and media houses have been shrinking since, even though the reasons behind the development may vary in different situations. And this is why I say that in a not so distant future, every media person is going to be an information technology professional as well, and we have to be prepared for that. In about 15 to 20 years from now, various forms of technology, including the information technology, would be playing a dominating role in the world of media, and then there will not be much scope for the technology challenged. While information technology will bring opportunities, we can't even imagine the kind of opportunities that it is going to bring, but at the same time, it will also bring in new and tougher challenges. This has already happened, and the Indian media is fortunate to have missed a crisis that its Western counterparts had faced a few years back. Yes, I am talking about the print media crisis of the United States, which took place during the years between 2008 and 2010. Hundreds of US newspapers had to shut shops due to the challenges posed by online media. Among these were newspapers such as Seattle Times Intelligencer, published for more than 100 years. Many large newspaper chains had to file for bankruptcy, including the Tribune Company, the Journal Register Company, the Minneapolis Star Tribune, Philadelphia Newspapers LLC, Sun Times Media Group, and Freedom Communications. It was online media that sparked a crisis in the traditional system of media. Subscribers and advertisers of newspapers were shifting to the always available, richer, dynamically updated, interactive, and most often free online media. When the survival was at stake, some US newspapers sat back and transformed themselves. They embraced the new media platforms themselves, launched their own digital editions, and brought back the subscribers and advertisers that they were losing. Some of these newspapers, like the Washington Post and the New York Times, are one of the biggest new media players in the world today. As I mentioned earlier, distances between the old and the new media and the information technology and media continued to blur. Our Indian organizations did not have to face a crisis before learning from the experience of their counterparts in the US and realizing the potential of the new media. While new media has its own stars who have grown independent of the conventional media and have established their identities, many conventional media houses find themselves among the most successful entities of the new media as well today. You find a lot of familiar brands here, such as the Times of India, Hindustan Times, Indian Express, NDTV, Aaj Tak, Jagran and Z News. Just the way you find the formidable online presence of some established international media houses such as CNN, BBC, ABC and Al Jazeera on the internet, you see the Indian online media space being dominated by these media houses which were ruling the conventional media as well. An example of this phenomenon can be seen in the way some of our senior journalists have conveniently found place in the comforts of digital media. Yes, I am talking about the print, the wire, the Punya Prasoon Vajpayees, the Vinod Duas, the Vikram Chandras, the Pankaj Pachauris, the Ashutosh and many others. There are people who have moved from new media to the conventional media. We see a lot of interoperability happening across the print, electronic and digital media, as nationally and internationally there are many journalists who are at ease with all of them. The new and old media have not only learnt to coexist, they have also started benefiting from each other. While the print and electronic media are using the social media for sourcing content, the new media has also become a platform for quick updates on content which first surface on old media. We have all been impressed by the kind of power social media has exercised during big moments in recent history, which are often described as the color revolution. Starting from 2005, the social media played a big role in non-violent resistance across countries ranging from former Soviet Union, the People's Republic of China, the Balkans, Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Bahrain and Thailand, etc. It even helped agitations and mass movements in India, such as during the Anna movement and Nirbhaya movement. On the hindsight, it appears that social media, due to its humongous reach and interactivity, was singularly instrumental in the success of many such movements, but that is not the case. If you looked at the newspapers and television programs of that time, you will realize that the conventional media contributed to the movements in a significant way as well. In my opinion, the entire credit for the success of such mass movements cannot be reserved for the social media or the new media alone, as the real impact came when all forms of media came together to support the causes involved. While the new media worked as a tool for quick distribution of information and an informal mode of communication, the conventional forms of media provided support in terms of building an ideological foundation, bringing in attention of the right people, exploring various dimensions of the problem, and analyzing the ground situation. While the new media helped with its youthful speed, vigor and connectivity, it was the conventional media which added the requisite maturity to the overall situation. Even though this aspect has not been recognized much and it is a subject for deep research, but I believe that during all such big moments in the recent history, the two forms of media worked hand in hand to bring about some of the most revolutionary changes in our polity, our world and our society. Looked from another angle, these political and social revolutions have themselves been possible because of another revolution which has been taking place in the world of science, technology and industry. We are going through the fourth industrial revolution these days, which began after the arrival of the modern information and communication technologies. The phrase fourth industrial revolution was first introduced by Klaus Schwab, the executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, in 2015 in his article in which he talked about this phenomenon at length and which was published by the Foreign Affairs magazine. He believed that the combined power of hardware, software and biology, along with breakthroughs in communication and connectivity, are changing our world. As a result, many powerful technologies are emerging in the fields of artificial intelligence, quantum computing, robotics, Internet of Things, 3D printing, fully autonomous vehicles, fifth generation wireless technologies, and so on. Let me remind you of the three earlier industrial revolutions to clear the context and to also make you realize the kind of impact that fourth industrial revolution can make on our world. And don't forget, the fourth industrial revolution is actually the revolution which is being brought forward by information and communication technologies. The first industrial revolution took place around the year 1765 when mechanization happened. This replaced agriculture as the main component of the economy of that age. During this age, our world witnessed the arrival of steam engine and the printing press. The second industrial revolution happened around the year 1870 when massive technological advancements in the fields of industries helped the emergence of a new source of energy: electricity, gas and oil. New methods of communication such as telegraph and the telephone arrived during this period. After about 100 years later, around the year 1969, the third industrial revolution took place when we saw the emergence of nuclear energy, electronics, telecommunications, computers and the internet. Finally, as mentioned earlier, we are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution when we are discussing about the intelligent machines, natural language processing, virtual realities, computer vision and whatnot. This is shaping our world and shaping our media. As a media person, when we use the mobile phone to record a video and send it back to our organization, or when we speak in front of a laptop and it automatically transcribes our speech, which can then be shared with the news editor or the bureau chief of the newspaper or the television channel, we should stop for a moment and thank the fourth industrial revolution for that. The revolution is changing the media in more ways than one. I mentioned earlier that the distance between technology and media companies is shrinking. Let me take this concept one step forward to say that even the difference between information technology companies and media companies is blurring. This is a time of identity crisis for both of them, or maybe new opportunities opening up for both of them, because media companies are foraying into technology space and technology companies are dabbling with content space. Google used to be a technology company, but Google also provides news today. Facebook News is the social networking sites division which is fully dedicated to news content. AT&T acquired Time Warner in 2018 and Time Warner was a media company. AT&T was a communication company and technology company. And similarly, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos acquired Washington Post in 2013. Apple has Apple TV, Google has Android TV, and Amazon has Prime. Then there is Netflix. About a decade back, it was the traditional media houses which controlled our living room. But now it seems that technology companies are taking over the control from them. If media companies have their portals and YouTube channels in place, technology companies have launched smart devices like Alexa, Google Assistant, Apple Smartwatch, etc., which provide news as well as entertainment. Back home in India, Times of India has Ghana, which is a application to play music and provide music, and MX Player is also with my Times of India group, which provides entertainment content in video form. Similarly, Rediff, which is a technology company in India that owns India Abroad newspaper today. Changes in the advertising world should not be missed as well, whereas a large chunk of ad revenue is controlled by media companies, in fact non-media companies such as Google and Facebook. Welcome to the new world order of media, and this phenomenon is called media tech because it brings two different worlds together, media and technology. Do you now realize that the new and old media are destined to amalgamate, if not in the near future, then in a couple of decades maybe? And hence I consider digital media as an addition to the fourth pillar of democracy. So what happens to them who are still unaware of the opportunities and challenges brought into the picture by the digital format? I would remind them of the crisis that US newspapers faced little more than a decade back. In the age of over-the-top or OTT platforms and YouTube, a similar crisis is looming large before television media. The traditional media houses need to take a cognizance of the situation and start transforming themselves, adopting new technology and innovating before it is too late. It is also happening to some extent, but it needs to be speeded up. Same can be said about the journalists. Let me bring into picture a word that raises as many hopes as fears in our minds, and that is artificial intelligence, or AI as it is popularly known. The present revolution in the media space has only seen some basic technological powers at work. For example, the internet, the cloud and the mobile. We have yet to experience the power of a mightier force, and that force is AI. Artificial intelligence has the power of generating millions of new opportunities, but only for those who are ready and equipped to take advantage of its power. How do we define AI? By its three capabilities: to learn, to reason, and to deliver or output. Now compare this with media houses or journalists. Don't they also do the same things? They learn, they reason, and they also deliver or output. We are fast moving towards an age when robots, smart software bots, or intelligent agents will be carrying a lot of our burden on their own soft shoulders. Associated Press and Bloomberg have already employed bots that write business news at a supersonic speed. Washington Post used an in-house robo reporter called Heliograph as early as in 2016. And recently you must have read the news of the virtual news anchor that a Chinese television channel has started using. Back home, a Hindi newspaper is experimenting with neural translations among various languages to quickly translate its news stories. On top of these examples, neural speech has already arrived, which can speak in a voice almost as natural sounding as that of humans. A project from a large internet company is underway wherein videos will be automatically produced based on a script, and artificial intelligence has already written scripts for advertisements. The intermingling of technology and media has seen many new dimensions emerging fast. For example, the power of community, which the traditional media was not associated with in a larger context, is now a reality. Interactivity is another aspect of media which was experienced by all of us in a very limited way until now. However, the two aspects are not only bringing media closer to people, but are also ensuring that our audience is also a participant in the process of the news dissemination and they are also enriching our experiences. Don't most of us like to read comments from viewers when we watch a good video? The content and the reactions both come together to create a holistic experience which was not known to us the way it is there. The possibilities are endless. This reminds me of what Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg writes, that we believe it is possible to rethink a lot of experiences through the lens of building community, including watching video. Watching a show doesn't have to be passive. You will be able to chat and connect with people during an episode and join groups with people who like the same shows afterwards to build a community. We have not discussed the possibilities that the advent of virtual reality and augmented reality have brought into picture for traditional media. Some newspapers are experimenting with hybrid content wherein they publish a short URL or QR code in the newspaper at the end of the news or article, and the reader can scan that code and reach the newspaper's website or its YouTube channel to know more about the subject in greater detail in a more interesting, interactive and comprehensive way. You may have seen experiments of television channels where a plane visible on the TV screen suddenly appears to be passing through the studio itself. As such technologies develop more and more, you may be able to see the newsreader standing next to you, literally, by either using specific glasses or by using a specialized television set, which may soon become commonplace. Mind you, this is early days for AI, data analytics, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, holography, and so on. And this could well be the real media revolution, and it might just be a decade or two away. The question is, are we prepared for it? Are we ready to embrace the change and use it to our advantage? And I'm talking about the media houses. I'm talking about the conventional and mainstream media, whether it is ready to take advantage of whatever is happening in the technology space and which is impacting the media space. To those mesmerized by the power of the new or digital media, let me tell you that the media scene has yet to witness the real power of information technology, and we will see that coming in our lifetime. Thank you.